You may have noticed that my content recently has more of an emphasis on making money. And it's a little bit different than the content I was doing 2 years ago or even a year ago. And I'll explain you why I changed my mind on making money. For us, light leaders, light workers, we often very clearly see how money can corrupt the world. However, I believe we sometimes swing the pendulum a little bit too far on the other side. And due to that, we may limit our impact in the world, our positive impact, and even our fulfillment. So I want to share 4 beliefs that I had 2 years ago that I feel were not serving me anymore and that I've changed. The first one is that we don't need money because we can just give. And the consciousness is rising, so the more we give, the more we receive. It's a bit of a mentality some people may realize work really well in places like Burning Man. When people come with that mentality, I just want to give, and then everyone gives and it all works perfectly. And I think when we all live from a higher consciousness, this is a beautiful potential future where we really just focus on giving and know that we're always receiving enough. Now, I've changed that a little bit. That's the first belief, because the world is just not there for now. Even for me, living in Bali, I'm already in a more newest paradigm type of environment than most people, let's say, in what we call the old matrix. I still need money to operate, right? I still need money to pay rent and to buy my food because I don't grow my food. So that's one thing where I've changed, is that I think in some environment, it's beautiful to experience the fact that there's no money, but it's just such a jump from how the world is currently living that it's just not functional. And I think a lot of things I was doing 2 years ago in general was looking at an idealistic vision of the world and bypassing a little bit how it actually works in the present moment. And another thing I realize we need money for right now is for organizations to work pretty well, at least for most of them. And again, it can depend on the level of consciousness of its participant. But what I've noticed in the past 2 or 3 years, being part of community projects where sometimes we don't have a capitalistic model, is that it can be coming also with a lot of slacky energy, a lack of accountability, a lack of reliability. Like, because people don't get paid, they don't feel like they have to show up as much, they don't feel as accountable, they may arrive late or prioritize other projects, because truly that's how they make money with those other projects, and they prioritize them because that's how they pay their rent, that's how they pay their food, because that's the world we live in. So that's the first thing I've changed on, is realizing, yes, we need money in this world, and it's beautiful if we create a new paradigm, but we're not there yet. The second belief I had a few years ago was that fiat currency, so dollars, euros, are going to collapse. And so I don't really care. Why would I make dollars? This is just going to collapse very quickly. And that's when I was really deep into cryptos. Now, I don't want to invalidate that. Our fiat system is built on a pretty unfair house of cards system. And people have realized it. That's the early days of Bitcoin and people thinking the system's going to collapse, we need a new currency. I am amazed at the resiliency of the fiat system. When you learn about how money works, it feels to you like next month, the dollar is going to collapse. And then 5 years later, it's still there and you're still buying your stuff in dollar. So again, that's the second belief I changed on, which is I take the world as it is now. Right now, I pay my rent, I pay my food in euros, in dollars, in Indonesian rupiah when I'm in Bali. And also the systems of payment for, let's say, e-commerce aren't great in crypto. If you want to have a subscription business model, it's much easier to take credit card payment. So not only the old paradigm is more resilient than I was thinking at the time, but also the new paradigm is taking much more time than advertised. I've been part of so many projects that are revolutionary and are going to be released next month and be amazing. 3 years later, they still haven't launched properly, they're still buggy. And so, again, looking at what works right now, I've decided to play more in the world of fiat, even though I know it might crumble in time and I know it's quite an unfair system. I've actually done something very similar with social media platform where I've come back to the world of the Instagrams and the YouTube and playing that game, even though there is a centralized component, a censorship component that I don't like, but that's just where people are. Now, belief number 3 is I was feeling that my purpose was not to make money myself, but to rally people who already have made a lot of money and raised their consciousness and became passionate about creating the new paradigm. So I was thinking, well, that's not my purpose. There's people who already made a lot of money. I just need to find these people, get them to invest in our projects of community building, of new paradigm societies. And on paper, it sounds very good, but actually, it's been many years that me and a lot of my friends who work on this project have been fundraising, and it has been a little bit challenging, to be honest. I was in that situation where for years we had this investment, philanthropic investment, for example, that was coming next month, and we would base our hopes on that, and it ended up never coming. For a couple of years, maybe I felt it was coming in 2 months and it was always postponed for some reason. And that's not just on one project, that's in different projects I've been part of. So a year ago, when I launched my coaching business, I thought, okay, I really want to have more control around how I make money for myself to start with, because we need money to operate well in this world, for things like even comfort and fulfillment and health and travels, but also for increasing my impact and making my mission in the world. And also, I want more control. I want to be able to have my goals, show up, work, get the results, and get paid for it, which was lacking previously. I felt I was so dependent on other people, other factors outside my control, that it became disempowering. Now, the fourth belief that I had was that if I make money in the old paradigm system, it will create bonds with it. I'll become enslaved in it, and especially in the process of things like taxation or just being more noticed in the old paradigm systems. So if I have more fiat money, then there'll be all this administrative stuff coming. If I speak my truth, I might be in more troubles. Again, there's some truth to that, but I've also realized how much I will have more freedom. So it's about freedom. I felt that I would have less freedom in the world with that money because of these bonds on more of a subconscious level. But now that it's become more conscious, I've reprogrammed myself to think, well, I really will have more freedom even in the old system. If I have more money, I can hire lawyers, I can hire people that support me on doing things in an aligned way and not getting enslaved by that old system and getting the bonds to it. So these are the 4 beliefs that I've rewired in the past 2 years. And that's why now I'm doing coaching. It's my business. And as a part of a business, one of the goals of it, beyond helping people, beyond doing something aligned with me, my soul mission, and something that's good for our earth and the planet, because I do believe if more light leaders speak up on social media, have their podcast, connect with other like-minded people, it will definitely assist the rising consciousness of our planet. But beyond that, also, I'm doing a business. So part of it is to make money. Part of the people I'm working with is I'm always taking into account, okay, you also want to make money with it. and be sustainable and have more funds to be more impactful. So that's what I'm doing right now. If you're interested in building your own podcast, having your own voice as a light leader, you know it's part of your soul's mission to be a thought leader, and you want to start a podcast, you want someone who's done it for many years, knows the software, knows the tools, has a step-by-step guide, see the link in the description and hit me with a DM and we take it from there. I'd love to hear from you. I'm really passionate about helping people rise in that way. And now, after sharing that, I'd love to finish on an end note, which is that it's not so black and white. So now I'm on a trajectory that I've shared, which is more doing my business and making money with it. At the same time, life is like a dance and we co-create with the universe. So I can come with my intention and with, let's call it, my more masculine vision of what I want to create. But I'm always dancing with the universe that's bringing me new elements in life, new clues, and things can change very quickly. The world is always changing, even at a faster and a faster pace. And we saw that during the pandemic, actually. So the dollar could collapse tomorrow. The whole economic system could collapse tomorrow. As I mentioned, we were looking for people to invest. A billionaire could reach out to me tomorrow or to some other people I co-create with and be like, you know, guys, I'm all in. I love your vision. I want to create it. And if that was the case, potentially things would change. Maybe I would be part-time on my business and part-time on building those new paradigm communities. Who knows? But right now, I take the world as it is today. It feels really empowering. And right now, we live in a system where fiat is still the main system. We live in a world where I can be an entrepreneur and make my money. So I recommend people to not go too far the other way as I was doing 2 years ago, and to, of course, have our hopes, have our vision of what the world looks like when it's higher consciousness, and keep that vision, and at the same time balance it with just having a realistic vision of how the world looks like today and how we can thrive in that world already, so we have more power to prepare the new. I hope that was relatable and inspiring. If there's anything you want to share, please leave in the comment on the YouTube video and I'll answer all of these. Or again, you can send me a DM. I send you a lot of love and have a beautiful day.